Insert disc 2.
That's true. So I want to talk about some stuff this week
Okay.
on the Insert Disc 2. And the first thing I want to talk about is, because I found this hilarious. As you may know, this past, in fact, just a couple days ago, the Atari VCS console, the new version, went live on Indiegogo and destroyed its goal. Destroyed the goal. I believe the goal was to raise $100,000, and I believe the last time I checked, they'd raised $2 million. Okay? If you followed this system like I did, it received a continual flow of hate through all the YouTube community.
Community?
And in
hate?
What? The retro community.
The retro community? Hate?
They're not that bad.
What?
They're not that bad. We're part of that community, you goof.
We're not
and
part of that
community. We don't hate
community.
on people. Hey, here we are.
We're not part of that community.
Where do these videos go? Do they go to... Where do they go? They go to YouTube. We're not broadcasting on MySpace, pal. So learn to live with it. You're the same jerk, just like all the other jerks.
You're the same jerk as everybody else.
Now, I think we mentioned the Atari console briefly a couple months ago. And I think I also mentioned everybody hated it and expected it to get killed. I knew this thing was going to make some money. Ask me why I knew.
Why did you know?
Because the people behind it are putting together a slick presentation. They took it down to get it right, and they've put together something that resembles something that might be cool. If you watch the movie that they put up for it, it was slick. They told you right away what it could do. They said what it might do. Is it something me and you would buy? Probably not. But with the success of the Nintendo Mini, the Super Nintendo Mini, the upcoming N64 Mini, the Neo Geo Mini, and the many other minis, it's no surprise. And they've just recently announced an Intellivision project that's coming in.
I did hear about that.
Tommy Tallarico.
That intrigues me because Tommy Tallarico is an intriguing fellow.
He is, and he's a talented guy. And he's the guy that's behind the Video Games Live. But all that said, this stuff's hot right now, and people forget the popularity of the Atari 2600 was pretty vast. People that weren't around for it don't understand the appeal, right? And I think there was enough people that said, hey, I want to get in on this. There were enough people that were curious that were willing to throw a couple $100 at it to make it go. I thought there were more than enough people because people were predicting doom and gloom and it's not going to make their funding. I knew they were going to blow past the funding. Did I know they were going to make this much money? No. They showed, in the video, they showed people, this thing has the ability to load up Atari 2600 games, which it comes with like 100, and lets you play them online, live multiplayer, whatever. They also showed newer games like a Tempest 4000. We talked about the possibility of, and the speculation of maybe doing some Jaguar stuff. I think it's absolutely going to happen. I think they're going to open up the vaults on a lot of this stuff that you haven't seen. And I think it's got, I'm not saying it's going to be a blowaway item, but I think it's going to do pretty well. I mean, clearly it's going to do halfway well because it's already made $2 million.
I would be willing to bet you almost anything that we will never see anything. No, I don't want to say that because of Tempest 2000.
4,000.
No, 2,000 on the Jag.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from that, we will never see anything Jag related on this box.
Well, but they didn't show Tempest 2000.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about as an outlier. That would be the only thing Jag related. Because there is no love for the Jag outside of the incredibly minuscule fan community on the internet.
You've got to look at this from a different perspective.
It's not the 2600. It's not the Nintendo. It's not even the Intellivision.
Listen, let me ask you a question though. Now look, just hear me out for a split second.
I want to.
You're Atari, okay?
Okay.
You have your properties.
But
okay?
Do you have your properties still? Do you own the rights to release Bubsy?
Well, hold on a second. You have your properties, wherever they are, okay? They run from the Atari VCS console and maybe your Pong stuff all the way up to the Jag. Then they've got some other stuff they released on the PC and whatnot, but that was who knows. You're going to want to put something fresh on the menu. It doesn't have to be something that's widely regarded or well known, but it's different. It looks more modern. if you can't ship a console that's playing Warlords, you've got to do something. You've got to.
So you're going to put out Kitsumi Ninja and say, well, this is our modern thing.
You're going to put out Tempest 4000. You're going to put out, what are the best games in the Jag? All 2 of them, right? There's only a couple.
There's only one.
There's more than one.
There's only one.
No, I don't agree with you there. There's more than one.
Okay, what's the second one?
Well, what about Alien vs. Predator?
It's crap.
No, it's not.
It's rose-colored glasses nostalgia for a game that was not good on release.
That?
Yeah.
When?
All the time.
You've never played it, both. You argumentative goof. So, I think putting some Jag stuff on there will be something. It's a low-hanging fruit.
Are you sure, though? I mean, do you think the Jag is easy to emulate?
I think they can make the Jag work. I mean, it's there.
I think we need to make a wager. Okay.
Everything's got to be competitive.
You want to say what kind of time frame are we looking at here?
What's the wager?
Well, we'll figure that out after we determine the terms.
No, I don't want to make a wager. I don't bet. It's against the rules.
It doesn't have to be anything big. I bet you.
So would you stop with the pie, Duncan?
There it is. It's the pie.
No, I'm not doing the pie. Now I've already got my.
With what do you think? When do you think? When is this box coming out?
It is slated to ship in spring.
In the spring. Okay. So if it's not coming out until spring of 2019, then when do you think the very earliest you'd see Jag content would be? Launch. Okay. So why don't we say by next September 2019, if there is Jag content that's not Tempest 2000 on the Atari Box, I will do whatever you want.
No, I'm not making no bets.
Because you know I'm right.
I'm not.
Nobody's
not
bringing back that
anything.
freaking tank game that's awful.
No,
that other thing.
That one back.
Yeah, there's nothing on there to bring back.
Atari has a limited library of more modern
They'll
titles.
hire people to code something better in like the span of weeks that would be better than any Jag title.
Even if Tempest comes out on it, that's a top tier game.
That's the only game.
That's still a game.
And Tempest 4000 is going to be better than Tempest 2000. Twice as better.
Is it? Well, twice as better.
It's 4000.
I'm just saying. I think they'll use their properties to their fullest. I would definitely use your properties to its fullest.
I think that they're on the right track with making this thing look like it does, and saying it plays all the games that you like by Atari, and you can do it online multiplayer. Now, is that fact alone going to make it jump off the shelves? What's the MSRP on this?
It varies depending on what setup you get. They've got 2 different styles.
Having different setups, I don't know.
Well, it's not. I mean, they're just cosmetic. There's two different types. There's a jet black.
So there's the Vader and the Woody,
and a wood grain, and then you've also got you can optionally have joystick or gamepad or both or neither.
It seems like this is a lot of dilution for a market that's already pretty small.
It's already raised $2 million.
Here's my theory on that. I think that they get investors together that make shadow Indiegogo accounts that they're like, okay, we've already got $100,000, so I'm going to give all of these people $1,000. I'm going to give 100 people $1,000. They're all going to contribute that money, so it makes us look like a big success. Success feeds on success in all these campaigns, on all these Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaigns, and what you end up with is the Ouya. You know, the Ouya raised $8 million. $8 million on Kickstarter.
First of all, I don't know what you base this conspiracy theory on.
The same thing I do all my conspiracy theories.
Pull it out of the air. And secondly, the Ouya was the fresh item on the menu at the time. You got to remember, people are like, "Oh, the Ouya, what a piece of crap." No, I had 2 Ouyas.
But the Ouya was a piece of crap.
No, it wasn't. It was exactly what they said it would be. It was a little Linux box that came with a joystick. The problem with that is like by the time they got it shipped, everybody and their brother had come up with something similar, and they'd done it at least as well, except for the game stick, which I also have, which is horrible. You know, they're little Linux boxes, but you got to think there was no little Linux box when that came out. That's why it generated so much interest. And back in those days, the thought of having a console that was free to hack on and it had a store, you'd have to follow the rules of Nintendo or Microsoft, do whatever you want. It was a very appealing idea until they realized that part of the reason you're following the rules of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo is because their infrastructure is awesome. They've got tons of support. They've got tons of people making crap for their machine. And if you had an Ouya like I did, you'll realize the store was barren, the prices were idiotic, and the joystick was horrible. And so now once you cracked it open, it still wasn't that great, but it was. It's just totally different than that.
Okay.
This is because the Ouya didn't really appeal to this nostalgia crowd like the Atari VCS will.
I think that's true.
Listen, what have I said about all these minis? To me, they seem pointless. To me, I can see the value of them to other people, but to me, they seem pointless. Right? This is no different. But all those other things sold great. Will this make Atari Super Nintendo Mini, there it is. Will this make Super Nintendo Mini money? No. This will make Mini money. But it will make money because their overheads are probably pretty low going through Indiegogo. And I think this will give them enough money to get something put out. And since they have said, okay, here's what it's going to do. It's going to play Netflix. It's going to be a Linux computer.
I thought they said it wasn't going to play Netflix.
No, it absolutely does.
Okay. I thought that was part of their pitch, is like, this is a games machine for gamers.
No, I think that was the Intellivision guy was saying that.
Okay,
but anyway,
I got that confused.
It's going to do some pretty lame stuff. It's a Linux box. Will it run Atari? Yes, but everything runs Atari.
Right. I think that it all depends on the software that they build into it that runs on top of it. Like whatever magic that they do to make games online and in multiplayer and stuff like that. If they have online leaderboards, that's cool. And I mean, people like us are always going to say, well, you could do that with emulators, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, not many people do that. And
yeah, I mean, that's something else that people forget.
Yeah.
Some of the YouTube crowds, like, most people aren't as tech savvy as people that are making content are.
Yeah.
They're just average people. And my dad or somebody that really was in the Atari, which he wasn't, but they might take a chance on this.
Mm-hmm.
They might not.
Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't actually. You said that there were different versions, but like, what's the cheapest version of this?
I think it's right around a couple $100. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly.
So it's already It's already twice as much as the Super Nintendo Mini.
It's absolutely
more than twice as much.
I guess the promise is it's a more open system that will do more. Okay, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Linux box, so theoretically you could play Super Nintendo games on it if you wanted to. It depends. I don't know how they're going to go. And really, let me ask you, getting back to the Ouya, was the Ouya a success?
Okay, I played with your Ouya.
Mm-hmm. Wow! Don't tell people that on the air.
And the controller was unusably bad.
It was not good.
Game over, man.
No,
Game
no,
over.
You're missing
That's the end.
You're not looking at it like I am. Was it a success?
Well, of course it wasn't.
It was absolutely a success because they paid $8 million before they shipped Unit 1.
Well, was it a financial success? I don't know. At the end of the day, by the time they sold the company off, I don't know what their figures are.
They probably did.
I mean, they raised a lot of money, but there's lots of companies that raise a lot of money that don't stick around very long.
I would wager they did pretty. They got their money and got out, which I would also wager that's what Atari will probably end up doing. Because when this thing is out in the wild for a week or a month or a year, what benefit is there to a device that everyone's got, that no one really needs another one of, and is getting little to no support in a year? Because I just don't see that much forward progress on this. I mean, even if it's a huge success, everyone's got one, you're going to have similar things on your phone.
It'll sort of be like, the flashback system sold very well. They've made 8 of them.
All right.
So this is like a flashback, except it's got, well, I guess the newer ones have HDMI, but this has got online capabilities.
Price point, though, is what worries me.
Oh, yeah. It's so much more.
I mean,
it's so much more. I just can't imagine.
You're dropping a couple, I mean, those little mini Ataris and stuff, the flashbacks, that's what, $60, something like that?
Your casual Atari fan is not going to spend $200 on this, and your hardcore Atari fan sees through this at what it is and is not going to buy it.
Now, you're going to get collectors picking it up.
Yeah.
Especially since the wood grain one's got real wood. You heard that tale.
Mm-hmm.
But that market's only going to take you so far.
Right.
And that price point is scary. It tells me that they've probably got something halfway decent under the hood. And I'm sure they've marked themselves a decent little profit into that mix to get some of that money. $60 is an impulse buy. $200, that's
not for me. Not an impulse buy for me.
Money.
That's $100 less than a Switch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So there you go. So anyway, but it'll be interesting to follow and see what happens. Tomorrow is Korgs, the Columbus Retro Gaming Society's big event, which I think I have talked myself out of going to because no one wants to go with me, and I don't want to go to Columbus by myself because it'd be boring. So I probably will not get to go to Korgs. I may change my mind. Really, the main factor is that my son's ball game is tomorrow. It's his last game of the year.
Oh, man.
And it's exactly
Last
at the
game
point
of the
where I
year.
can't. It's at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a real bummer.
So any playoffs going on? All-star team?
They don't do that stuff in his league. They don't even keep score. So, but he's having a good year.
That's good.
He's had a real good year.
He's going to be in second grade next year?
He's third grade.
Third grade next year. So they got to start keeping score pretty soon.
Yeah, next year they'll start getting into a little hot and heavy. I also want to talk about this new thing I read about. This fellow did with the NES. Did you see this floating around?
Well, I saw what you posted.
He has managed to take a Raspberry Pi Zero and insert it into a Nintendo cartridge, and with this item, it will let him, with the circuitry he's put in there, it will let him play Super Nintendo game on his Nintendo.
Right. It's like Rob Zombie said, more human than human.
It's amazing. It's an amazing technical achievement. Wouldn't you agree?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's hard to do what he did or not. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
It's very inventive. I think what he did was very creative. I've oft wondered, because you know what this reminds me of? What's it remind you of?
It reminds me of the opposite thing, where I had a thing that plugged into my Super Nintendo that would play NES games.
No. The correct answer is it reminds you of the Vampire. Here you have effectively an emulator that seizes certain systems in a console or computer and takes and basically makes it a zombie, which
like I said, more human than human.
Use which you use the joystick, the TV outputs. I don't believe he had sound working. It's quite an astounding feat to pull this off. I was very impressed. I doubt this will go anywhere. I can't imagine people wanting to play their Super Nintendo games on their Nintendo, but it's still interesting. I was pretty impressed with the overall effort and the way he went about it. And the way he described it. I don't know if you watched the video, but he says it's like a big joke that he's doing, and the joke is that he can do this. It's not a joke that he did it. He's a strange guy, but it was pretty. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. This past weekend, I went to Louisville.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you go to a place like Louisville and you spend some time there and you realize that everything there is just like here, except everything's just a little bit better. You know, there's more stuff to do. There's more opportunities for things.
Don't look over there. Look over here. I was just pointing at the screen going, yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
I put it in your world.
And
your world. Ooh, I'm going in there.
I went to my family reunion.
Yeah. Where was this at in Louisville?
This was actually my family reunion was actually it was across the river in Indiana because that's where they're mostly located.
That's the land of misfit toys.
And this was the highest concentration of people I'd seen smoking in years.
A lot of smokers in your family?
Oh, apparently all of them, except for my immediate family. Of course, my dad smoked for years, and then he stopped when my brother was born. He smoked a pipe. But yeah, it just reminded me of like how different things are than they used to be. Because you used to be anywhere you go, you'd see people smoking, restaurants or, outside. And like you still will see some people, but I mean, I don't know, at your workplace, are there still a heavy contingent of people that take a break and go outside and smoke a cigarette?
You cannot smoke at or near a Kentucky government facility. So that's a non-starter. And no one there smokes. Now, my partner used to smoke, but he quit since I've been there. It's funny you should mention that because I'm going to say some stuff that is very controversial here.
Controversy.
So, I grew up just like you, in fact, much longer ago than you, and smoking, every sucker smoked. And my mom and dad didn't smoke. My brother didn't smoke. I don't smoke. But everywhere you went, you had a smoking and non-smoking section. You had people smoking on the bus, people smoking on the plane, people smoking in the restaurants, people smoking in the bowling alley, and people smoking at the wrestling matches, the concerts. Smoking. And I know some people violently hate smoking and smokers. I can't. I don't know if it's because the way I grew up. They do what they want, and smoke never bothered me that much. And I know the whole situation of secondhand smoke, but
just you didn't have a physical reaction to it.
No.
Yeah.
But I grew up and matured, and when I went out to bars and shows, people were always smoking, and it was actually sort of part of the atmosphere to me. So when I go places now, and like when I go see wrestling, there's a vibe that's different because it's not. In boxing, you always used to hear the boxing in these smoky arenas. Well, that's exactly what they were. People were smoking in the arena, and it would get smoky, and it did provide this ambiance.
Oh yeah, and you look at old photos. There's this blue cloud among, like, you look at old basketball photos like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and stuff. You'll see like he's shrouded in this blue fog, and it's all the cigarette smoke in the arena. It's a really cool thing.
When I used to go to bars as I got older, I used to smoke cigars quite a bit back in the day. Never got into cigarettes and couldn't smoke a ton. It's like I can go smoke like 10 cigars. So I like to go to, when I was drinking at the bar, I would like to have me a big stogie going. Well, they banned smoking almost everywhere, and so that took away from my enjoyment of going out to drink at the bar. Believe it or not, I like to sit down with my stogie and have my bourbon or whatever. It's one of those things. Now, here's things I don't. And my roommates used to smoke, Rich. And everything in the apartment smelled like smoke all the time. So that does get old.
Yeah.
When you went out to the club or the bar, and when you got home, you smelled like a stinky ashtray. And that stuff doesn't just come off. It's anywhere you go, you smell like a smoker. So it's listen, in the long run, it's a good thing. Obviously, people just smoke is bad or whatever. But
Yeah, I feel sort of the same way. Even when I was in college, you could still smoke in bars and stuff, and I always thought it was kind of hot, you watch a girl smoke, like he's got a cigarette, I thought it was cool. I mean, now get close to her and it's like you actually smell the person that's been smoking. It's not quite as hot, but I can understand the appeal, and that's part of how cigarette companies market it.
When I worked at Lexmark, everyone smoked. When I worked at IBM Lexmark, and I'd go out and hang out with a smoker sometimes, and they had an area out back. The closest you could smoke to the building was this back door, right? And so the smokers would be out there. You ever seen that March of the Penguins? When when all the penguins are up in the Antarctica.
Oh yeah.
They would all huddle together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it like for warmth. And the smokers would do that, and they would all be huddled in. And the smoke would just rise up like a bonfire, or something going down the middle. And it was very bizarre looking.
Wow.
But one thing that smoking started to do as I got older in the 90s and on forward is it made these smokers like a very tight band of misfits that were all, and sometimes they'd get very militant about it, And I always felt sort of bad for them that they had to go out and smoke these cigarettes. Here they are doing something unhealthy anyway. Now they're out in 2-degree weather, freezing their butts off, and they're trying to get their smoke in. But the flip side of it is you're out in 2-degree weather, man. That's a sign. You probably should quit. But I've never had a problem with smoker. I used to tell people, it's like, man, smoking's no good. It's like, listen, they came for the smokes. One of these days, they're going to come for your booze. They're going to come for your fatty foods. They're going to come from the kind of movie. I'm always concerned that they're going to take this stuff too far. So
yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to show you these. This is an item that you can buy at the convenience store in the candy aisle. That looks exactly like a pack of cigarettes. You know how much this costs? This is the least expensive candy I've ever bought.
Probably, I don't know, 50 cents.
29 cents.
Pop it up. You're going to open it up?
Yeah, I was going to open it up here on the store.
Now, when I was a kid, they made these candy cigarettes that you could blow into, and it would smoke.
Right, you get a little puff. Yeah.
But they think they banned those.
They don't have those anymore. Yeah. Now they just sell candy in a cigarette package.
Me and my partner were out in the armpit of Kentucky one time, and I was in a convenience store getting a pop, and I saw those. And I had not seen candy cigarettes for like decades. I couldn't believe it. And now I've seen them more and more here recently.
Did you ever have the bubblegum cigar?
Absolutely, yeah.
See, I don't remember having those. I just remember the candy cigarettes.
In the old days, when someone had a baby, they would hand out cigars.
Right.
And occasionally I would see these guys hand out the candy cigars, the bubblegum cigars, or they'd have both, and they'd ask you, So that is the most olive oil style low end, shriveled up.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a rolled your own.
There you go. Do you feel cooler?
Oh, I feel awesome.
It's like I'm sure some of you've had these, but if you ever took the notion to go into like your third grade class and just eat a piece of chalk. Just eat it. That is a very similar sensation to what it is to eat these candy cigarettes.
They are not good. This has got beef gelatin in it, by the way.
That's my favorite.
Ingredients: dextrose, cornstarch, corn syrup, tapioca, beef gelatin.
Tapioca.
And that always obscure artificial flavors.
So you're telling me if I'm a vegan or a vegetarian,
you can't have any Jello. Because it's all,
What a bummer, man.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Jello guy anyway.
You don't like Jello?
I mean, it's okay, but it's not like I go out and I'm not like jonesing for a bunch of Jello. It's like I gotta have it, man. Yeah, candy cigarettes, crazy.
Yeah, but I just saw this and I was like, I bet they don't have this in Europe. They don't have candy cigarettes.
Really?
Of course, the big thing now is Juul. Have you heard about Juul before?
The singer?
No.
I like her.
Juul is a new way to vape. Okay, and I think
God.
this is a Scandinavian thing. The people in the chat can tell me about it.
Ooh, licorice pipe.
But it's like it looks like a USB drive, and you charge it in your USB drive, but you can vape with it. And this is what all the kids use now because it just looks like a USB drive, and it's called Juul. J-U-U-L.
How do you blow it? How do you blow? Where's the mouthpiece?
It's all built in. Well, I mean, it's like the end of the USB drive. You can picture like a long USB drive. The end of it's got a hole, and it comes through and all that stuff. And
how long does it charge?
I don't know the specifics of
Does
Juul.
anyone at your school do this?
Oh, I guarantee you, without the shadow of a doubt, that people
What's
do
your
that.
opinion on vaping?
Vaping is
Because I've vaped myself a few times.
I think that vaping, like the vaping subculture, is somewhat hilarious because it's just like any other subculture where you have the people and it's like, well, what's your rig look like? And you talk about the wattage and the battery and all that stuff and the mixture. And but I don't think that we truly know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of regulation about what goes into all these mixtures. And I wonder if it's going to come out later on that there was some bad stuff in the vapes.
Well, you know who first turned me on to the whole e-cigarette thing was Chudley, the Chad.
Really? Because he used to be a smoker.
He did, and he was looking for something to get him off the sticks.
Right.
So he looked into vaping before it had a name.
Right.
And it was all, and I'm sure you folks, fine folks, know it's all out of Europe at the time. They didn't have it in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got online and ordered something from like Russia or something. Well, they tried to steal his credit card or something. So he never got that thing. And eventually he gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time I was at a truck stop and I saw an e-cigarette. And I bought it. I'm like, I got to try this. It was menthol. I almost said methane. It was menthol. It was a methane cigarette. That didn't go down too good. And I was like, wow, look at this. And I tried it, and I was like, "This is pretty good." And it lasted a while, I don't really smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes, but that's how I tried it,
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like overnight, like those vape shops were everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $1 billion industry.
And I have a rig, but unfortunately, it got smashed. Like I didn't get to use it that much either.
Tell me about your rig.
I don't know anything about it. Like it was a Christmas gift, And I liked it because you could get nicotine stuff for it, and so which I didn't give nicotine that I don't give a crap.
Right.
You
you just like the sensation of just like breathing in and breathing out.
That's right. Like so, I have a pipe too, but I haven't used that thing for years. I got that from Russia, but I like to draw it in and stuff, and I like a good smoke now and again, but I don't need all the extra crap that comes in there. But yeah, you're right. No one really knows for sure what's in them. I feel bad for the vape people. Yeah, they're now under fire. And you're right, no one knows for sure what's going on. But I mean, here these poor suckers switch over to vape. They're trying to help themselves and get people off their back, and now you can't do that.
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword because is vaping safer than smoking cigarettes?
That's a problem.
Absolutely, 100% yes.
Oh, yeah.
But is vaping better than not doing that at all for the teenager? And the answer is probably not. And so
I suspect more teenagers are vaping now than were smoking cigarettes 10 years ago.
Absolutely, and that's the issue. But
I've got to get one of these licorice pipes.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
No. Licorice pipes.
Are they just actually pipes made up? Look that up, Boat. Let's have a picture of that.
Yeah.
So, Edwin, I got to ask you, are these snooze? We don't have that.
Oh yeah, we do have snooze.
We do?
Yeah, you don't know about, man, you got to attend more sessions that I have to sit through at school.
All right, what's a snooze?
So snooze is like, it's
Give
like,
me the snooze.
it's like smokeless, it's a form of smokeless tobacco. So it's just
okay.
like, instead of having a big wad, and the snooze is only a little bit. You just put a little bit under the tongue there and gets you the little nicotine buzz.
Sort of like a Skull Bandit?
Yeah. I think that it's almost the same thing.
Oh yeah. I never got into snuff.
Yeah.
Hey, give me another smoke.
All right.
So, licorice pipe. Now, getting back to this, is this a pipe made of licorice? And you just eat the pipe? Because
So
I'm down with that.
I'm looking at this right now on Amazon. I'll throw this up on the board here. No, I won't. That's still Big Nose freaks out. I've got the wrong window open.
Oh man.
A second. Bear with me here. Things are going off the rails.
Remember when you probably remember this, but remember when you were watching TV and sometimes they'd say like, we're experiencing technical difficulties. We'd come on the
Right,
screen,
oh, yeah.
And they'd play this music, you'd be like, like
Yeah.
circus music or like something you would have played back in the 30s when you're on stage, you know?
Mm-hmm. There'd be that picture of that. Wasn't there like an Indian chief or something in the test pattern? And like there's, anyway. So this is a licorice pipe, 2017 official release. I guess it's just a pipe made of licorice.
See, oh yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, I wonder if you put
Candy pipe.
you put some tobacco in there, you smoke it, and then
don't
you eat the
smoke
pipe.
it.
And that's what you do. It's a full service industry. There's Big Nose again.
I like that. See, we need to get some of those.
But apparently I guess they're banned in Norway. Is
Why?
that what they said? I don't know.
It's candy. We got it.
Yeah.
And they got different flavors too.
Yeah.
The big, huge, thick licorice sticks.
You like those? The ones you got from Webkey?
I have just gotten through the last pack of those things.
Oh man.
That's how long those things last.
This fire. What is it called? Fire eater? Fireball. The Fireball. This came from Graham too. Graham's done well by the Amigos.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
And that candy he sent down, those oh man, what a package of delicious.
I still remember the halcyon days of that Amigos mailbag.
Yeah, that was good eating there.
Yeah.
But a licorice pipe, I could get down. So this is our tobacco and smoking episode.
Yeah, it's the long-awaited
And Atari.
tobacco and smoking
Oh, God.
episode.
I'll take this thing to the houseboat.
Before we do, I just want to ask: did you ever dip a little bit in school?
Absolutely not.
A little bit, just a little
Disgusting.
bit out on the
No, I
baseball
never-
field.
no.
I remember playing Babe Ruth over there by the wave pool park, and that was the thing because we were in high school at that point, and everybody had the spit cup, and everybody's, a little bit of that. Just
That's
like
what
the big
turned me off
leaguers.
of the whole dipping. Because I've almost drank out of those spit cups everyone
my
has.
gosh.
And you look into that disgusting thing, you're like, holy God, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nasty. I remember Coach May.
So wait a minute, you're telling me you, prim and proper, sweater vest boat, used to dip?
No, I never did.
Oh man, that would have been awesome.
I kind of wish that I would have, so I could tell you that I did, but really that's the only reason why I wish I did.
That would have changed my whole opinion of you.
I've never been more repulsed by any one action than that of smokeless tobacco use. I've smoked pretty much everything else, but I used to do the pipe a lot. I was a big pipe smoker. I had exotic pipes.
I've got an exotic pipe too. We should get together and smoke sometime.
We should.
So weren't we going to smoke down here? But then your wife banned that.
She kiboshed that. That was no good by her.
You're lucky that she's taking care of you because you'd been off the rails a long time ago.
Yeah, I'd be smoking in here all the time, constantly. But yeah, I tried cigarettes one time ever.
Sorry, Jason.
But
don't worry, it's tape, bro.
yeah, it's all good. It'll be back before you know it. You ready to close this thing out, Aaron?
Close it out, yo.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Until then,
Adios.
adios.